I'm busy. I forgot I'm doing the Busy Guy show here. My name is Vince LoCascio, and I'm a busy guy. Today's show is a big, big thank you to all the guys and ladies that helped put this thing together. There's a couple of people that aren't here today that I'd like to thank and won't be on camera. One is Lee, who's with Comcast, and Jeremy, who help out every week or every time we do the show, getting equipment ready, making appointments, putting the show on the air. Also, Rachel, who's not here today, I want to say thank you to. And Dr. Steve Knapp, he's so humble, he tells me not to call him doctor, but he worked hard for that title. He's a big, big help and part of our Busy Guy team. They wanted to be called the Bee Gees, but that name's already been taken. And anyways, so I want to thank all of them. Today I'm actually going to have a couple of guys on that are going to be appearing as guests. Our director, Mark, chooses to be the great Wizard of Oz and be behind the scenes, doesn't want to show up. So thank you to everybody, and thank you to everybody that watches the show. All three people that watch the show, I want to thank them. So we're going to come back. When I come back, we're going to take time. We're going to interview Ray. We're going to interview Al and Tony O. So I certainly hope that I'm not leaving anybody out. And let's go to a quick PSA that talks about being Italian and the values of it and the beauty of people that aren't Italian that love to eat Italian food. So God bless everybody. Thanks for everything. And we'll be right back after a little break.
What does hope look like? It looks like people with type 1 diabetes who get involved in their own cure. The Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation is now funding more human clinical trials and needs more people with type 1 diabetes for this crucial work. Participating in a clinical trial is a way you can play an important role in the fight to treat and cure type 1 diabetes. Be the look of hope and get involved.
My great-grandfather and then my grandfather went to school through 4th grade, and then my father went to school, became a lawyer. Now I'm a sportscaster, and I do what I love every single day, and it doesn't feel like work for 1 minute. I believe the Italian-American in me has given me a lot of good things. Passion, close-knit family, and great hair, and I'm pretty happy about that right now. I'm an Italian-American, and I'm proud of it.
The Italian-American heritage. Live it, love it, celebrate it.
Welcome back to the Busy Guy Show. My name is Vince LoCascio. Still, since the last break, it hasn't changed, and I'm a busy guy. I want to welcome back somebody that's a guest, but not before I go on to what he does. He has helped out with this show, making it professional. Always fixes my tie. If you notice, I'm not wearing a tie today.
Right.
But Al's always there for that small detail that he pays attention to. What Al does is he's the Villa Park government channel. He's the station manager and producer of, it's called TVVPstyle.com. Al?
Thank you.
Nice to have you on this side of the camera.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Looks totally different. It's all bright and lights and everything like that.
Isn't it?
It's nice, yeah.
Tell me and tell us what you do. First off, what Villa Park, what TVVP Style is and what you do for it.
Well, a lot of people are watching this show on Channel 19, but they're also watching it on our local Villa Park station, which is called TVVP Style. It's Channel 6 on Comcast. We also go off on ATT Uverse on Channel 99, and we simulcast the same programming to both stations. And we, as well, simulcast the program on the internet, so we're on live stream. So we have basically a network of 2 cable channels and the internet television that our programs go out over. And we're very happy to say that we also broadcast at 10:30 every night the Vince LoCascio Busy Guy Show.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Tell me about, I don't want to go without saying what government, when we say government shows, what does that mean? Council meetings?
Yeah. basically, this channel is a public education government, PEG channel. And it's, got several communities, so it goes off into 62 communities out of the Elmhurst station here. But in Villa Park, channel 6 goes just to the local community. So Villa Park and some parts of Oak Brook Terrace that are part of the same cable station. And it started out as government channel. So in the 1980s, that's what they did, is government programming, the village board meetings, any special meetings, public meetings, they would broadcast live and replay them again and again. And between that and the next meeting, they would have basically a bulletin board. So it'd be like when you walk into a hotel and turn on the TV and you see, who's going to be in the Oak Room, and what time lunch is, and the menu. That's what would play in between. So we've tried to take that the next step, which is beyond just a government channel and be more like the PEG channel that we're on right now.
And what is it we were talking about earlier is about how they're showing Andy and Baber as an example,
right?
Because they're not copyrighted. Tell me a little bit about, not all the shows, but some.
There are a lot of resources that are available for programming to station managers that do a full schedule throughout the day. First of all, a lot of the federal government programming, like something called Army Watch, is available to us. And any federal government program that's done by a federal employee in their duties as a federal employee is automatically in the public domain. And that's written right into the copyright law, paragraph 1, that takes place. So we get programs like that, Fish and Wildlife Service, we get all of the different national parks, and we play video of that. That's all free. And available to be played without any royalties or copyrights infringements. Then there's a whole group of public education and government programs that we get from another source called PEG Media. So we get, and you're on that with this show, we get programming from New England, we get programming from East Coast, we get programming from Illinois area that we can play as half-hour episodes, and it's shared so that the producers of those shows get a much larger audience.
So do you serve as program director? I mean, do you pick and choose what's going to be on? Or do you have a group that works with you?
We have a commission of 6 of us right now who go through that once a month, and we verify that it's the right programming. We want to have everything be family-oriented, so some of the programs have comedians with late-night content, and we don't play that. We don't want that to be part of our programming. But a show like yours, where there's no problems like that, we play that without any reservations. But we also, as you mentioned, the Andy Griffith Show, there's a Mickey Rooney show, Annie Oakley, some of the old classics that were on years ago, including something we talked about earlier, which is Victory at Sea, a military program about World War II, all fell into the public domain in the 1970s because the law changed for the federal copyright law. And that was that anybody that had a program that was done in the 50s or 60s, from the beginning of television on, had to register the program as a copyrighted program, had to claim it as the producers of the show. Well, some of them were not, including several episodes of Andy Griffith, many episodes of Ozzie and Harriet, for example, which I know we
And that
watch.
will never change? I mean, they can't come along now and say, these are our shows.
No,
give them back to us?
No, sometimes you'll see it in a box set, like in an electronics store, and you'll see like a Time Warner or someone else will put out a set of that program, that classic program. Yeah, so we got something.
You got a phone call?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, this is Al. Yeah, hello.
We got a TV show and this guy's taking phone calls.
Just a second. What?
Hey,
What? Oh, yeah.
I'm supposed to be the busy guy.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I'm. He asked me to come on. I don't know. What do you want? You want me to do something?
Man, I thought I liked that up to this point.
No, I'm sorry.
My audience
it
is
happens,
waiting.
It's serious. It's a phone call.
Did you finish?
No, I didn't. What do you want? My car is parked in the wrong spot. What? They're towing it. What? Vince, I gotta go.
A gallon of milk and some Pampers. Did you finish the call?
Yeah,
I got a show here.
I gotta go.
Well, all right. Thanks for being on. Anything you want to say about?
I love doing
thank
this
you for
show.
being
I
on the
love
show,
doing
man.
Show. Everybody that's on the show is great people. And thanks for giving us an opportunity to show off a little bit. You got two more guys you got to talk
All
to.
right, listen, I hope I didn't, I mean, I'm the busy guy, so I don't know.
Well, you've trained us well.
Tell us quick, though. You're a professional photographer as well?
Yes, sir, I am. I do mostly editorial photography, but I also do some other commercial photography. I do editorial photography for newspapers like the Chicago Tribune and others.
Okay, and then real quick, tvvpstyle.com.
Yes.
Hopefully we have it up on the screen for you.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Listen, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
All right.
I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
Okay,
Happy holidays.
same to you.
You're a busy guy.
We were forced to get along, you know. It wasn't about culturally where we were from. It was more about having honesty.
The Italian-American heritage. Live it, love it, celebrate it.
Welcome back to the Busy Guy Show. My name is Vince LoCascio, and it's still, after a second commercial, still is the same name. Welcome back. I got another guy, busy guy here, who helps out, and I truly appreciate everything he does. He makes a long drive to get here, and he's got his own TV show, and he's going to tell us a little bit about it. Tony O.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Nice to have you here. You're kind of like Elvis, and
Elvis.
well, I mean, you got a one-name title, Tony O.
Well, it's Tony O.T.
Oh, it is Tony O TV.
Yeah.
Tell us about Tony O TV.
Yeah, TonyOTV.com. Very silly videos, skits, gags, clips of movies, music mixes, you know, third grade humor. Very, very silly stuff.
And you were not discovered, but you were Vince Girasoli from CBS. Tell us about that.
Right, he came to Skokie Cable Access Facility. You can see it on the TonyOTV.com. He interviewed us. He's great, and it was an experience, and that really helped boost, you know, the Tonyo TV exposure. So yeah, he's one of the best news guys of all time for sure, and he's very busy.
He's a busy guy. I tried to get him on the show, but he's too busy. He won't even answer my phone calls.
Well, it's to be Vince versus Vince.
I guess Vincenzo versus Vincenzo. Well, how did you get involved with public access?
I wanted to have an outlet to work on Tonyo TV videos, and there you go. The rest is the future.
The rest is the future. I like that. I thought it was the rest is history.
No. Tonyo TV, you're going to see Back to the Future comedy on there. Don't even try and test me on time travel.
Nice. And are you cold today, or what's the deal?
Oh, this is the season. You got to stay warm. You know, keep the heat from escaping from your head.
It's so cold out. I saw a lawyer with his hands in his own pockets. What do you think about that?
I like to get his hands. I like to have some of his money.
Previous to working with public access for the suburbs, you worked a little bit with CAN TV. What is CAN TV?
Yes, the Chicago Cable Access, very, very big facility, great outlet source for city folk to produce their shows and get on a citywide broadcast. Cable Access, great resource.
I mean, it is great, the opportunity that they give us, without charging.
Yes.
Because people out there, if you want your own TV show, I mean, they could go to the websites and stuff to find out how to do it. But it's truly the people like yourself and the guys here helping out today that make these TV shows possible. So what do you see for the future for Tonyo TV?
More Tonyo TV.
More Tonyo TV. Well, Tonyo, I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you for everything you do, and stay warm.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me.
All right, TonyoTV.com.
.com.
To find out about TonyoTV.com, go to TonyoTV.com. Thanks for watching. We'll be back. Again, I got another guest, another guy who helps out, Ray. And I'm really enjoying this show today because all year long these guys help out, and it's a good chance for them to sit on this side of the camera. So thanks, TonyoTV.com.
I, like many of you, happen to be blessed that we possess two of the best cultures in the world, and that is Italian-American and American.
The Italian-American heritage. Live it, love it, celebrate it.
Welcome back to the Busy Guy Show. I've got one more guy here, Ray Pieszczuk, that helps out and has continually helped out, volunteering his time to help out with the Busy Guy Show. So I want to thank him for being here. Ray, thanks for all your help over,
Thanks, Vince.
over the years.
It's been a pleasure.
And it is over the years. I think it's we're almost up to 3 years
Yep.
now. Tell us a little bit about, you are a volunteer at the Illinois Railway Museum.
I am. I spent a lot of time there. A little bit about the museum. The museum is located in Union, Illinois, which is about 40 miles northwest of O'Hare. So right down the Northwest Tollway. Big signs. You can get there real easily. It's about 300 acres. We've got over 470 pieces of equipment, and we give rides. People can pay a small admission charge, and they can come in and ride all day. So it's not only a museum where you take things and you just stuff and mount them. We actually restore them and operate them so you can ride on historic
They're
equipment.
housed indoor, outdoor, a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. We're trying to get as much as possible indoors. We got probably about 10 or 11 barns right now that are just stuffed. We got over 2 miles of track under roof.
Is that right?
Yeah. So when we restore something, we try to get it inside because the weather just plays havoc on it.
And we talked earlier, but it's not just trains and buses. What is it? It runs the gamut of what different types of vehicles?
It's basically everything. Most museums, they'll focus on one or two things. You have steam. You have a steam museum or a diesel museum. We have everything. We've got steam and diesel. We've got passenger cars. We've got freight cars. We've got streetcars from Chicago. We've got interurbans, Chicago, Aurora, and Elgin, Chicago, North Shore. We've got trolley buses, which is my department. I'm the curator of the trolley bus department. We also have motor buses. We even have tunnel equipment from the Chicago Tunnel Company.
The ones that flooded.
Exactly, in 92, yeah. I think it was 92.
Nice. Well, you'd say your specialty is the trolley cars.
The trolley buses.
Trolley buses.
Yes.
Now, what gamut of range do you have those? You have old ones, you got new ones, or is there new ones?
Well, there are. Our collection spans from 1930. We actually have the oldest operating trolley bus, actually the second oldest operating trolley bus in the world. We had the oldest one until last year. A museum in England has one from 1929 that they got operational. Ours is from 1930. It is operational, and we operate it from time to time. So it's the second oldest one in the world.
I thought you were going to say somebody broke in and stole it.
No. Yeah, they can't get very far without the overhead wires.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, you, please.
I was going to say, and our newest one, you asked about how run the gamut. The newest one is from 1982. That was an articulated coach from Seattle that we got.
I'm sorry we don't have pictures to show, but all of this is, if they can't make it to the museum, is available on www.irm.org.
Correct, irm.org. It gives you our calendar. When we're open, our calendar of special events. We're basically open from the beginning of April to the end of October. And we run cars every weekend, basically, and every day in the summertime. So again, you just come in and you can look around. You can spend the entire day there. We have a picnic area. We've got a diner where you can get food. You can bring your own food and ride all day for just one admission price.
Nice. Well, since that is your specialty, I mean, for the people that do remember, there was nothing. I mean, that you just don't. Obviously you don't see it anymore, but I can't imagine that many wires being on the streets now.
It's a very different look. There are a number of cities that still have trolley buses. There's Boston and Philadelphia and Dayton, Ohio, and San Francisco, Seattle, Vancouver, where you can go to these cities and you can see the double wires up above. And Chicago's trolley buses went out in 1973. So you have to be probably somewhere in the vicinity of 45 years old, maybe 50 years old now, to even remember them on the streets. And it was a very different look. As a kid, I would not only ride the buses and love the buses, but I'd look up and I'd be fascinated by the overhead and the switches, and when the bus turns, how does it know to go one way and not the other? There's a lot of behind the scenes technology, mechanical technology at work there, and we have some of those switches and we can demonstrate it for our visitors.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about you grew up near Six Corners, just as an example there, because it was if anybody doesn't understand what we're talking about, it's the mesh of wires where the buses had to hook on there. So when there's an intersection of like angle streets, it was just like a spider web up there, right?
It was. It was. There was a lot of intersections, and especially around North and Cicero. I know Six Corners had a couple. Cicero had trolley buses, as did Irving Park. But if you go down to like North and Cicero, they had the garage there.
Right.
And there were wires all over the place. And it was incredible to look up and see those. There were other intersections. Belmont and Central, I know there was a lot of, not only crossing, but also turning, coming out. And North and Central had a lot of overhead. We always joke that it would block out the sun because there was so much overhead up there.
And occasionally you'd see especially at those intersections, if the wires popped off, the bus driver himself had to get back. And I clearly remember them going like this, like they were spring action, right?
Yes.
And you just get them as close as you could, and then they'd snap back on.
Yep. If you had the top of the bus, the poles were in the back, and the springs actually forced them up against the wires. And then there were ropes to not hold them down, but to be there in case they did pop off. So they would pop up, and then there were retrievers. If you look on the back of a bus, there were two things on the back of the bus that had a spring-wound mechanism inside, where if the pole jerked up too quickly, it would set the spring and it would yank it down so it wouldn't go up and tear up all the overhead.
Now, other than just getting rid of the wires themselves, why did they make the changeover? Because for gas or energy-wise?
It's kind of backwards if you talk about energy, because right now, diesel fuel is very expensive and electricity is relatively cheap. But at the time, in the early 70s, Commonwealth Edison was the supplier, and the infrastructure that the CTA had was very old. And ComEd said you have to upgrade the infrastructure in order to keep having this power come to you. So that was going to be a big expense. The buses themselves were getting to be about 20 years old. The buses were built in 51. So by the time you get to 71, 72, 73, you're talking 22-year-old coaches. And they would have to not only do infrastructure, but buy all new buses. So at that point, the decision was made, let's just go with motor buses. It was simpler and more uniform, basically, for the fleet.
Well, just to go backwards a little bit, then what did they replace streetcars that had rails in the street?
That's correct.
Just like a railroad?
Exactly, and it's almost like a progression of more and more flexible. Your streetcars, you had to stay on the rails, and you had only one overhead wire. So the rails were it. If anybody parked on the rails, you were stuck.
So they were on the rails, but they also had okay.
Yep, they
I
had
hadn't
one.
thought about it.
Yeah, if you look at a streetcar will have one, or an urban car, they'll have one pole. That's the power, and then the return was through the rails. The trolley bus has rubber tires, so you can't have the return through the rails, so you have a positive and a negative wire. Now, if somebody parked where the trolley bus was supposed to go, it could easily maneuver around. You got 14 feet either way that you could go around obstructions, but you were still tied to the wires. So that's when they went to motor buses. Basically, they could go anywhere.
And why would some cities choose to keep the trolleys?
Well, a lot of the cities that have them still, a couple of them are for historic reasons, but for the most part, it's for hills. Because if you get a diesel bus on a hill and you get an electric trolley bus, the trolley bus will way outperform the diesel bus. So you're talking, like Seattle and Vancouver, where they've got big hills, San Francisco, those are the kind of cities that keep them.
The most famous, the streetcars of San Francisco.
The cable cars.
Cable cars.
Yes,
cable
yes.
Cars.
Yeah, San Francisco is an amazing city if you ever get a chance to visit, because they have everything. They have cable cars, streetcars, trolley buses, LRVs, light rail vehicles, subways. It's an incredible place to go if you're into transit.
I tell you, I'm sorry I haven't been out there yet, but I would really like to see it, because growing up in Chicago, you just have memories of, because when you took the bus, man, you waited for the bus, and you saw the little bus coming like that, coming. And something that comes to memory for me, and I'm sure they're on the buses that are there. There used to be stickers inside that said, "No smoking, no spitting."
That's right. Yes.
Were people spitting on the bus?
I imagine so.
Let me take this. My bus driver calling.
Okay.
Hello. No, I was supposed to take the 358. How did they get my number?
I don't know.
It's Ralph Cramden. Hey, Ralph, how you doing, buddy? Yeah. Tell Alice I said hello. I'm doing a TV show. Goodbye.
Calling from the great beyond.
Yeah. See you, Ralph. Well, listen, I tell you, for people that are out there and they want to see it, it's in Union, Illinois.
Yep.
And the website is irm.org.
irm.org. That's it.
So besides just the trolleys that we talked about, there's trains, there's
There's everything. There really is. You can go there, and whatever sort of rail vehicle you're into. You mentioned about remembering the past, and you're too young to remember the streetcars, but we've got streetcars.
First time I've been called young in a long time.
We've got streetcars going back. The earliest one we have is a horse car from 1859, and then it goes on from there. So not only streetcars, we've also got rapid transit vehicles. We've got a rapid transit car, an old gate car from the 1890s that's being restored right now. We've got wooden L cars. We've got L cars from the 20s and then through the 50s. And our latest one is the L cars that were just retired about 2 months ago. We have a pair of those out there, and they're getting ready for service.
The majority of them are CTA?
The majority are CTA. We do have cars and vehicles from other cities. We don't want to just focus on Chicago. We have Milwaukee. We have some Milwaukee streetcars and trolley buses, and many other cities, but mainly Chicago.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for being on this side of the camera. Thank you for being on that side of the camera, and I really, really appreciate everything you do.
All right. I enjoy them both. Thanks,
And
Vince.
you are a busy guy.
I am.
And he plays hockey, too.
Every single day, my mother was in the kitchen. My father cooked too. He made a really good sauce. My mother made the best. The meatballs were like unbelievable. Forget about it. And all the greens, like the broccoli rabe and the dandelions, and we used to. And she'd cook the zucchinis, and she'd make a beautiful salad out of dandelions and fresh tomatoes. I'm proud to be an Italian American.
The Italian American heritage. Live it, love it, celebrate it.
Well, thanks for watching. I tell you, I mean it when I say it, this was probably the most relaxed and fun show that we've ever done. Thanks to all the guys and the ladies that help out on this show. And if you're a Comcast producer and you're looking for a show to work on, let me know. Busy Guy 45, whatever my website is, busyguy.co, because I'm too busy to have an M. It's busyguy.co. So thank you, everybody, for watching, the two people that do watch, or did I say three people earlier? Come back again. Tell your friends. Tell the world. Watch the Busy Guy Show.